Right, welcome along. I'm Alistair Horrocks, National Sales Manager for Deutz Bar for Power Farming. Today we're down here at Tokoroa, MyNoke's new facility. Along with me here is the GM for MyNoke, Phill Holland. Phill, tell us a little bit about what's going on here today.
Awesome, mate. Well, first of all, thanks for coming along and thanks for delivering our brand new J-Law. The boys are very excited and the mix already over there looks fantastic. This is MyNoke's largest site currently in Tokoroa. We process about 120 to 130,000 tonnes of waste a year here, and that goes out, so basically where we're standing now is like the kitchen for us. So all the different waste streams come in, the boys mix it up to our recipe book, put it through the J-Law, then it gets fed out onto the paddocks and laid down for our worms to do their thing, which is pretty neat.
Brilliant. And this product comes from all over the country at the moment?
All over the show. So at the moment we've got a mix obviously from the Kinleaf mill. We get a lot of fibre and ash, but for example on this site we take all the Hamilton City's biosolids, so thanks to all your Hamiltonians. Every time you flush the toilet you're actually feeding worms inadvertently. You may not have known that. But all the way from WAS and DAF from the dairy industry, meat, food products, you name it can sort of come to the site.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the blend itself. So what are you doing and what are you mixing to pull it all together?
Yeah, so I call this business, it's a simple but complex business. Simple in the sense of what we do, but complex in the science that goes into creating our blend. So if you think of it, it's a bit like an Alison Holtz type kitchen. There's all these inputs and then the science team work out the best blends. And the key for us is making sure that the output, which is vermicast, so worm poop, which is a fantastic soil conditioner, is an AA grade rating. So we kind of work from the soil backwards to go, this is what's good for the soil, this is the kind of inputs that we need to get into the mix to create very usable vermicast.
So hey, let's talk about the finished product, the vermicast itself.
Yep.
So just explain a little bit about what's sort of in it and obviously the condition when it comes to market, when it's finished up.
So we always start with the finished product in mind, so the vermicast. So for us it has to be an AA grade rating, so no pathogens in it at all. It has to be normal soil limits, and also obviously we're mindful of looking at like fertiliser values, so NPK type ratings. So at the moment a tonne of vermicast has a NPK rating around $58 a tonne, so it has some good nutrition in there as well. And then working backwards, obviously looking at the waste that's coming in to make sure that matches that. There always is a bit of concern when we're taking certain types of waste, so from the dairy industry, the meat processing, and obviously water treatment plants. The advantage of worms, they're quite clever little buggers, but any sort of pathogens and E. coli or anything that might be in a mix, the worms absorb a lot of that as well as the heavy metals, and they're building protein themselves. So as they're feeding, they're growing just like us. And I liken it to a cake and a carrot. Both start with C, both food. We put them in, taste differently, but what comes out of us is pretty well still the same. And the same applies for worms. So we get the mixture right, they eat it, and we've worked out that the worms process a piece of waste up to 6 times. So you get your compost worms coming up first, so they're like your tiger worms typically. They're the greedy buggers, right? So they come to the party first, they eat all the good food. Then when the food's kind of run out, they wiggle off. So worms can wiggle about 80 metres a night, crazy fact. And they do die if you cut them in half. It's another question we get asked a lot. And then after that we get the soil dwelling worms. They tend to be the ones with the more flatter tails. So they come up and weirdly enough they like to eat the worm poop of the tiger worms. So then we're getting the process over and over again. And so during that time it takes about 6 to 9 months for worms to process the feedstock. Reduces from a pile sort of this high down to about that high. So we get an 80% reduction, and a lot of that comes from the worms actually eating it and then putting on protein themselves. Some of them disappear to our old mates in the sky, the birds. Others die a natural death, and it's all just part of that process. So we have to test our product regularly for both heavy metals, any pathogens, etc., and all clear and all under normal soil limits. So that's that AA grade rating, which is very important to us. We're not on the market to create a B grade, we're only about A grade.
So application-wise, like using that product elsewhere on farm?
For farmers, both dairy, beefies, sheep. Dairy farmer the other day, bought a whole lot, all the way to the horticultural side, so avocados, kiwi fruit, particularly obviously around the Bay of Plenty Waikato region. Wine, it's quite used quite a lot in the wine industry as well. The application's huge, all the way to exporting. We're just working with a Singaporean client who's wanting a 20-foot container every month bagged and shipped, which is fantastic. And then we also sell it in the likes of hospices and garden centres and the like. Vermicast is a very well kept secret, I think. You know, and there's a lot of concern around New Zealand and soils, although, you know, we'd like a bit more emphasis put on soils and all the changes that are happening. You know, and there's some places in New Zealand that have got less than 40 cropping cycles left, which is, you know, quite scary when you start to think about that. In the simplistic terms, the vermicast kind of tricks the plants to think there's a lot of worms around. So they sort of sense the fact that there's worm poo there must be a lot of worms. And that helps to really grow the root growth. So typically we see about a 20% increase in root growth, which obviously makes the plant stronger, so less prone to disease, and obviously the growth function as well. So, you know, we've had a lot of maize trials that have seen a 7 to 10% increase in growth, you know, just from the application of vermicast first. We're just finishing some trials with a large market gardener, and again, we're seeing massive increases in like onions and things like that. So it's all around strengthening that root growth. The other advantage to vermicast is the slow release. So, you know, you can put it on, you're not going to get that boom straight away, but it's about building the value of the soil back up again. So if you've got crops, for example, that are really sucking out a lot of the nutrients, vermicast is a good option to work with fertiliser. But we do have some farmers that have weaned off all fertiliser and are just using vermicast and topping up when they need to. So it's a good way to get that balance right. Well, it's true soil to soil, you know, so a lot of our product is either coming from a tree, you know, it's coming from the land, which is coming out of soil, and, you know, what we're doing is actually returning it back to the soil again, which is where it should be. It shouldn't be sitting in a landfill or somewhere like it. It should be actually used to enhance our soils again.
Excellent. And so customers, where can they go to source this product?
Yeah, so the easiest way is to go onto the website, mynoki.co.nz. We have ranges from, you know, bulk, so, you know, 1,000 plus tonnes, down to we sell bags through like hospice, for example, and garden centres. We also have an export product too, which we've just developed. So yeah, just jump onto the website or give us a call. Yes, at the moment we've got 4 operating sites. So Tokoroa, Taupo, a new site in Awakuni. We've got a small site in Makatu as well. And we're just launching resource consents at the moment for Napier, Matamata and then Mercer. And then soon after that we'll be shooting down to the South Island and helping them out with all their organic waste issues down there. You know, we're big on team, culture's everything to us, treating the team well, but also giving them an opportunity to grow. So we've just launched Aku Mynoki, which is Mynoki Learning, because I can't just go knock on the door to a poly and go, I need more worm farmers, right? They're just not there. So we're creating our own training program. So again, thanks to Power Farming for helping out on the machinery side. Fantastic, you know, and it's all about giving people a real career in worm farming. I never thought I'd hear the day I'd say that, but seriously, there is actually a real career in worm farming. So, you know, our ultimate goal is 18 sites. So that means I need 18 site managers, I need, you know, up to 50 worm farmers. We need to do a lot of training.
Oh, look, well, Phill, hey, look, absolute pleasure to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your business, and I think the team here are working together to make this operation work. It's been something we're doing hand in hand. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, and we'll get some work here and see how this new mix
Yeah,
goes.
better let the boys get back to it. They're champing, I can see, so yeah.
Excellent. Cheers for that.
Awesome. Cheers, mate.